let's take a step back. 1983 until 2008, the American economy experiences a quarter of a century of nearly uninterrupted economic growth. Then, beginning in the autumn of 2008, trouble. What went wrong?
Well, actually, it started much earlier, and I think it was the housing boom, followed by the housing bust, which occurred in 2006.
2006, much
and
earlier.
So the reverberations of that is, there are people out there who had trillions of dollars invested in securities based upon mortgages, and when people stopped paying their mortgages, the value of the securities vanished into thin air.
So you do not argue that this was a financial crisis that spilled over into the real economy. You argue that it was a problem in the real economy, particularly the housing market,
yes,
that started the problem in the financial sector.
Oh, absolutely. If people had kept paying their mortgages, the securities would have been good, and we would have all lived happily ever after. Now the problem is that the politicians made the mortgages more risky by changing the rules. In other words, at one time, mortgages were considered the safest investment. This is for the widows and orphans who need their money coming in regularly, and you put it into real estate. But the politicians decided that we must have more home ownership and more affordable housing. And so they began to prescribe rules. You had to lend money to people you wouldn't have lent to before. And of course, there was a reason they weren't lending to them before. And we discovered the hard way what that reason was, that they weren't likely to be able to pay them back.
Did what happened indicate, the housing market problem, did that indicate that markets, wonderful as they are, wonderful as you demonstrate over and over again in basic economics that free markets are, that they sometimes experience troubles, calamities even, that the markets are imperfect because they're rooted in human experience and we live in a fallen world? Or did it demonstrate that the government messed things up?
The government messed them up. After all, for a century, you never had this kind of crash in the real estate market. For centuries, people who did their life's work lending money for mortgages did that without the politicians interfering. Once the politicians started meddling, the results were what you could have predicted. It's what was predicted, in fact.